Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, friends. It's time for some more Saturday morning React Tunes, this time featuring Star Trek, the Animated Series Season 1, Episode 2, Yesteryear. Now, friends, I did watch this one about a year and a half ago. Again, no context because I hadn't completed or even started the original series yet, and I do know this one is a Spock-specific and centric episode, so I can't wait to get back into it and see what new information is gleaned from it this time, because with my Swiss cheese brain, likely a lot of it's going to be brand new. Friends, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel and allows me to alert you next time it's time for some Star Trek the Animated Series. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. And if you're not a fan of Patreon, consider sticking with us on YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes at least a day early. But my dear friends, all that is then and this is now, and now it's time to once again board the NCC 1701 as we journey to Star Trek, the Animated Series Season 1, Episode 2, Yesteryear. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go! Oh, Jim, tell us about the final frontier, shall we? You know what? We're still in the credits, friends. Even though I have watched like 3 episodes of this one, first, second, and third episode of this, in my mind, I guess it was just I, again, didn't retain or have really any kind of context with the original series because I hadn't started that yet. I am surprised that this is as adult as it was, because I actually looked it up and it said that it aired on Saturday mornings. And I thought, aha, perfect for Saturday morning React Tunes. And I am actually very surprised by how kind of intelligent it is. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful of DC Fontana writing it. Definitely didn't get that. But they want their audience to keep up. I love it.
Our mission is to assist a team of historians in the investigation of Federation history.
And see, this is City on the Edge of Forever, and I didn't even have that idea. What is the bird person?
Travelers are returning.
What a trip, Bones. Orion at the dawn of its civilization.
Who's he, Jim?
What do you mean, who's he? You know Mr. Spock.
Afraid I don't, Jim.
Kirk to Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Beam up.
Aye, sir.
See, it'd be cool if they beamed up everybody but Spock, because they didn't expect him.
Captain, I was expecting it to be one of the historians with you.
Oh, okay, well.
The first officer of this ship will be treated with respect.
Captain, I assure you no one has ever treated me otherwise.
Well, I thought sure you'd know Thalen by now, Jim. He's been your first officer for 5 years.
I have come to the conclusion that this is not a game.
No kidding.
When we were in the time vortex, something appears to have changed the present as we know it.
What did they do, though?
It seems, Captain, I'm the only one affected. The mission, the ship, the crew, except for myself, remain the same.
But I know.
Oh, and Thalen, he's not supposed to be there.
We've checked the Starfleet records Commander Thalen asked for.
Your findings?
There is no Vulcan named Spock serving with the Starfleet in any capacity.
Did you also research the Vulcan family history
Yeah,
requested?
Sarek the Vulcan, ambassador to 17 Federation planets in the past 30 years.
That is not correct.
Amanda, wife of Sarek, born on Earth as Amanda Grayson. The couple separated after the death of their son. The wife was killed in a shuttle accident at Lunaport on her way home to Earth.
Wow.
The son. What was his name and age when he died?
Spock, age 7.
I definitely forgot a few of those details.
Was the Guardian in use while we were gone?
Yes, but it was nothing unusual.
What do you mean?
The boy is recorded as dying during the maturity test.
The Cos-1. A survival test traditional for young males. That was the day my cousin saved my life in the desert when I was attacked by a wild animal.
This cousin. What was his name?
I do not recall clearly.
Spock. Did Selleck look like you do now?
I believe so, Captain. And I know what you're thinking. It was I who saved myself that other time.
But this time, you were in Orion's past with us when the historians had the time vortex replay Vulcan history.
Oh, okay.
So you died as a boy. Guardian.
They redid the history while he was away.
It is possible if no other major factor is changed.
I do not remember everything.
Define major factor.
I will need a Vulcan desert soft suit and boots, and a small selection of streetwear, circa 8877 Vulcan years. The carry bag should be of the same period.
My God.
In your time plane, you will live, and so will your mother. That is valuable. Live long and prosper in your world, Commander Spock.
And you in yours, Commander Thalen.
I like Thalen. I wonder if I'm going to look that up. If Thalen ever appears. I mean, I'll ruin it for myself. Could you, one of you, tell me if Thalen ever appears again in a non-spoilery way, please? Thank you.
The time and place are ready to receive you.
Jesus. Wait, Spock. See, I love this because this is what they wanted to show. You know what I mean? This is like, if they could have done this, they could have had us on Vulcan, showing us a Vulcan city. You know, they just didn't have the budget for it. They didn't have the means to do so at the time. But when the imagination can be drawn, here we are.
In an attempt to restore the future, I am home. And I had almost forgotten its beauty.
Look at those sassy pumps.
Your father brought shame to Vulcan. He married a human. You haven't even mastered a simple Vulcan neck pinch yet, Earther.
Wow, for emotion-free Vulcans.
In the family, all is silence. My name is Selleck, an humble cousin descended of T'Pel and Sassak. I am journeying to the family shrine to honor our gods.
Will you break your journey with us for a while, cousin?
I am honored.
It seemed I know you.
A family resemblance to our forefathers, no doubt.
Well, come then. Allow me to welcome you to my home.
This is a really solidly put together episode. That's his teddy bear with the fangs, right?
You have even been seen fighting in the street.
Yes, Father.
They've been fighting with me, too.
Order, logic, and control in place of raw emotions and instinct. Once on the path you choose, you cannot turn back.
Yes, Father.
My young cousin has a more difficult road to travel than others. Spock will find his way.
I hope so. I respect Vulcan and all its traditions, but it is a demanding life.
I'm surprised she doesn't recognize him.
To survive for 10 days without food, water, or weapon on Vulcan's forge will demand more of you than anything ever has.
What if I do, Father?
There is no need to ask that question. You will not disappoint me. Not if your heart and spirit are Vulcan.
Jesus, that's terrible to say. The only way you would fail is if you're an embarrassment to me.
What if I'm not a true Vulcan like they say?
Chaya, that's right.
Personal log. Stardate 5373.9.
So cool.
Subjective time.
Subjective time. I love that.
The Kaz-1 ordeal is an ancient rite of warrior days. When Vulcans turned to logic, they reasoned they must maintain the tests of courage and strength.
Why?
To keep pure logic from making them weak and helpless.
I have to do it alone. Stay.
Good boy.
Chaya, go home. You are too old and too fat for this.
Damn! Chaya catching a stray.
Go home, Chaya.
You don't want the great big saber-toothed bear?
The boy, Spock, should be moving toward the Langan Mountains. I had much to prove to myself.
They're dropping a ton of geographical lore about Vulcan in this. Sounds like Godzilla. Really sounds like Godzilla. That's right. Chaya's there. It's like Battle Cat. Damn, Spock.
Chaya, good boy.
I suggest we move away from this area before the Lamachia regains consciousness.
Lamachia.
Do you think I'll ever be able to do that neck pinch as well as you?
I dare say you will.
It's a good bet.
I had to see if I could do it. A personal test. I cannot fail.
That is your father's wish?
Yes, and my mother's. She goes,
She is a human woman with strong emotion and sensitivities.
Which isn't wrong.
What you do not yet understand, Spock, is that Vulcans do not lack emotion. It is only that ours is controlled.
I had to learn that.
We have emotions, but we deal with them and do not let them control us. The Lamachia struck him with its poison claws in the fight.
Oh, that's right. Oh, shit, I forgot that.
Something unexpected has again occurred. The Selat, Ichaya.
Salat, that's what they're called.
I can bring a healer here.
It is a long journey across the desert. There are many dangers. I will go.
No, this is my duty.
I wonder
did not happen before.
Oh.
My life decision was made without the sacrifice of yours, old friend. I know there is pain. I can help a little. Sleep now.
Oh. So what does that do, though? Dear God. I wonder what the wall is around the city.
My Selat fought a Lamachia in the Langan foothills. He suffered a small wound, but the poison of its claws is working in him now.
I have heard of you. I have heard of a tendency toward what humans call practical jokes.
I did that once, 2 years ago.
It sounds very Vulcan. Remember 30 years ago, that joke? Oh, well, at least they had that, whatever that is, to get back.
Loss of life is to be mourned, but only if the life was wasted.
Oh, boy. Well, let's not write him off yet. I mean...
It has been too long. No antidote known will save his life.
All right, go ahead and write him off then.
I can prolong his life, but he will be in pain. Or I can release him from life. I will need your decision.
That sucks, man.
Release him. It is fitting he dies with peace and dignity.
This is terribly sad.
There was a decision to be made. A direction for my life had to be chosen. I chose Vulcan.
It is good, then. You have comported yourself with honor. We will see Ichaya is brought home from the mountains.
I have some business to conduct with schoolmates.
Business?
A demonstration of the Vulcan neck pinch. Our cousin taught me.
It's funny. He taught himself.
There is no way I can fully repay you for that.
Try to understand your son, Sarek of Vulcan. It will be repayment enough for me.
My home is yours if you pass this way again.
That won't be happening.
Peace and long life.
Live long and prosper, cousin.
I sent the others up to the ship. What happened?
One small thing was changed this time. A pet died.
A pet?
A pet.
Enterprise, this is the captain. 2 to beam up.
2 to beam up, aye, sir.
Really solid story, especially when time shenanigans are involved. Tough to make that work.
I've got my medical scanners all set up for Vulcan. I have to recalibrate every time I run a physical on you, Spock.
If the times were different, you would have to recalibrate for an Andorian.
If that was supposed to be a joke, Spock, I have to remind you, Vulcans don't tell jokes.
Times change, Doctor.
Bones, always ready to fight. What's that mean? You're making a joke at my expense? All right, everybody, we just finished watching Yesteryear, the second episode of the first season of Star Trek the Animated Series, and the only thing left to do is talk about it a little bit. All right, everybody, we just finished watching Yesteryear, the second episode of the first season of Star Trek the Animated Series. I thought this was great. I did remember more about this one than I did about Beyond the Farthest Star. It's kind of shocking how little I remembered of that one. But Yesteryear, though, it was a solid story. It was a really, really good story. DC Fontana, right? DC Fontana knows her Spock. She knows how to tell a story with Spock, and I thought this was done exceptionally. This is one that I could easily see them having made in the original series, live action, because I think this would have given them the opportunity to show some bits of Vulcan. I think that with the animation, we got a much broader view of what Vulcan would have looked like had we just gone there in the original series. It would have been probably, I'm assuming, something like a Muck Time where we would have seen like a little piece of it, you know. But this one was a grand scale, you know, taking us. I mentioned during the reaction, you know, they were saying many geographical things like the Langdon Plains and all that stuff. I mean, I wonder if that stuff is like as soon as it was uttered, was that like canonical geographical points for the planet of Vulcan? Interesting stuff. You know, it's almost like, you know, the butterfly effect. You know, when they're writing this episode, every little thing they put in there is going to dramatically affect the future unless it's forgotten. And that's a curiosity of mine as to how much of these things that are brought up, because that seemed to be a lot of information. I mean, it's way more information about Vulcan than we've received in any other one time, you know, in the original series. So I'm wondering, like, at what point did they decide that, you know, canonically all of this stuff was going to be observed? Or wasn't it going to be observed? You know, I'm very curious about like what do they use anything from this? You know, I know that you all have told me that it's canon, but you know, there's things in the original series that are canon that were kind of forgotten about, you know, and I'm wondering if they kind of did the same type of like hand wave with the animated series like they did for TOS. I'm curious. Friends, if there's a non-spoilery way to tell me that, I would love it. Thank you. I think what this does really, really well, though, in the grand scheme of what is, you know, the original series, the original crew of Star Trek, this tells us a lot about Spock. This gives us a really good kind of a flashback origin story in many ways for Spock. I love the idea that they had Mark Leonard and, oh gosh, who plays Amanda? But they had them both back there to do their voices, which I thought really added something to this, to be able to hear Mark Leonard do Sarek. Really, really cool stuff. Really, really well done. And I love the idea, too, that this was Spock that went back and not like, again, I always love Spock and Jim together, Spock, Jim, and Bones. And, you know, when you throw Plum into the mix, you got the contrarian. And I always love seeing the big three and that stuff. But in this instance, I'm very glad that they didn't do something like that. And I bet you that was a discussion. I bet you that that was absolutely something that either DC Fontana struggled with or it was brought up by others. Like, well, don't you want to have Kirk go back with him? You know, and it doesn't work if Kirk goes back. None of it would work if Kirk went back. What I think is exceptionally awesome about all of this is in the original timeline, Spock remembers himself coming back and just assumed it was an older cousin that saved him at the time. So this was always meant to happen. They were always meant to go to the time portal. They were always meant to run a diagnostic of Vulcan history. They were always meant to have this loophole or this problem that Spock had to go back and take care of. And I love that because not only does that benefit young Spock, it benefits older Spock too. Because in that moment, you know, he's able to have this heart-to-heart conversation with I mean, as much of a heart to heart as two Vulcans can have. But, you know, I love that, you know, you've saved my son and I can never repay that debt. Just try to understand him. That's such a great thing to say. That's such a, you know, I mean, it's almost like a Back to the Future type of thing. You know, well, if your kid ever spills paint in the garage, don't get too upset with it, knowing full well that that's something that happens in the future, you know. But for Spock, it wasn't like an event or, you know, beware of this, because he knows what that would mean. He knows that, you know, you can't, you know, set them up for something, you know, tell them about, you know, information that could help him in the future or anything like that. You know, Spock's way too smart for that, but giving him that kind of general guidance, general advice, you know, try to understand your son. I think that was an awesome thing because one, that's something that Spock got to say to his father. And here's the thing that I am really curious about because of the long-lived nature of Vulcans. I wonder as Spock aged up, you know, I can't imagine Sarek forgetting Selleck, the guy that saved his son. I wonder when he ages up if he started like narrowing his eyes at his son and being like, wait a minute, I'll be damned, you're Selleck. Oh, another great one. Again, I'm very glad to have watched this again because I think that it had just a lot of heart and a lot of Spock information that I don't think that we could have seen play out in any other format. You know, we don't have any more episodes of TOS, and this is something that you really, I don't know if they could have put into one of the movies. I guess they could have, but who knows? I'm so glad we had this story, friends. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel, and it allows me to alert you next time it's time for some animated series of Star Trek. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. And if you're not a fan of Patreon, consider YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes about a day early. But all that's then and this is now, friends, and now it's time to say goodbye. So where should we say goodbye from? Well, friends, I say this. We absolutely cannot do anything in the past that could potentially compromise the present and the future. But there is one thing that we can do without disturbing anything. And friends, I think that's going to Ichaya and giving him the honors that he deserves, because friends, he saved one of the greatest characters in any piece of fiction literature ever. He saved Spock, and for that, friends, he deserves our eternal respect. Until such time as you and I can take to another adventure in the animated realm, Vulcan roll, and I'll see you.